What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. Today we're going to take a look for Xur. He's hanging out on Titan. We're going to go over his exotics for the week. He's got a really good selection this week. You can see you can land on the rig. He is marked on the map again. So simply land in, set a waypoint, and you can basically just run straight at him. This is really, in my opinion, a bit of a missed opportunity. I find that having Xur right on the map is a little bit sad, in my opinion. It's too bad because it really could have been a fun, community-driven event to every Friday morning wake up and try and go find Xur as a community. We don't know what planet he's on. We don't know where on the planet he'd be. And he's got the locations for it. Yesterday, he was just hanging out up in a tree. Today, he's hanging out in this random room on the rig. I think it could have been a really cool, community-driven event to go and find Xur every Friday morning, and it's sad to me that Bungie didn't take this opportunity to do that because, you know, Xur is cool, but having him on the map just kind of ruins a little bit of the fun. There is some fun to be had, though, because he's got a really good selection of exotics this week. We're going to start off with the weapon. The Warcliffe Coil is fantastic. It's probably got more smiles per hour than any power weapon in the game. It is a rocket launcher, but it's very different than any other rocket launcher we've had. Instead of shooting one rocket, it shoots a volley of very small rockets that kind of all track their own target independently. So, for instance, if you fire this at a group of adds, maybe 6 or 7 enemies, each rocket will kind of select its own target to go to and take out that target. But if you fire it at just one big boss, then all those rockets will go to that big boss and do pretty great DPS as well. The only problem with it is that it is a close-range rocket launcher, so you do have to be pretty close to your target, which can be dangerous. And if you are firing at a boss who's surrounded by adds, then some of your rockets are going to go to the boss, some of your rockets are going to go to the adds, and that can ruin some of your DPS. Comparing it to last week's weapon, the Merciless, my suspicion is the Merciless is actually a better single-target DPS weapon, but the Warcliffe Coil is way more fun, so definitely pick up the Warcliffe Coil. It's really great for public events. Also, it has a great perk on it, Mechanized Autoloader. This weapon automatically reloads on ammo pickup. So basically, like if you're in a public event and there's a bunch of power weapon ammo on the ground, you never have to actually reload this thing. You fire it off, you run over some power weapon ammo, it automatically goes into your magazine without going through a reload animation, and you're able to fire it immediately again. This is super fun to use, and in some situations, it can be really great for DPS and ad control. I really like this thing quite a bit. The exotic perk is this weapon fires a volley of rockets. It's just a great weapon to have. Do not pass this one up. Prioritize getting enough legendary shards this weekend to make sure that you get this one if you haven't gotten it already. Next up for the Hunter, we got the Foe Tracer. This is a great helmet. The main perk here is Relentless Tracker. Visually marks targeted enemies, and it deals more damage to low health marked enemies. Both of these perks work in PvP. Both of these perks work in PvE. The visually marked targeted enemies is fantastic in PvP. You can see your targets running across, running around corners. You can see them behind cover. It's very, very nice for PvP. Also, doing a little extra damage to low health marked enemies can be the difference between life and death in PvP. So the way this works is around the 25% mark. When a player or when an enemy has about 25% of their health left, the Foe Tracer allows you to start doing extra damage to that enemy. It starts off real small, but as you get closer and closer to basically killing that enemy, you do more and more damage. So against bosses, this can actually be really effective because as you're burning that boss down, getting him down to the minimum of health, getting him down to 0 health, killing that boss, you actually start doing more and more damage. And on a lot of Destiny 2 bosses, those bosses are actually getting harder to kill toward the end because they've gone into a new phase of attack or a new phase of running around. They're a little harder to kill right at the end. So the Foe Tracer can be really good in both PvP and PvE. I highly recommend picking this up for your Hunter. Next up, for the Titans, something I don't really recommend that much, the ACD Zero feedback fence. These are a Destiny 1 exotic. There have been some changes since Destiny 1, bringing them into Destiny 2. First off, visually, it's a little disappointing. In Destiny 1, the plates on this armor used to kind of move up and down in a really weird way that made it look really cool. That effect is kind of gone in Destiny 2, which is too bad because it's one of the coolest things about these gauntlets. The main perk here is Fury Conductors. Melee kills build up explosive energy within the ACD Zero feedback fence. Being struck by a melee attack unleashes this energy in a devastating explosion. So here's the deal. You have to get melee kills to build up explosive energy, which gets unleashed when somebody melee attacks you. In the Crucible, I don't see a big use for these. There's too many really good exotics for your Titan to be using these in the Crucible. The fact that you have to get melee kills to get any benefit out of these at all, and it only work if somebody tries to melee you, I totally skip these for Crucible. I could see these maybe being useful for certain places in Destiny 2 PvE, maybe if you're getting rushed by a lot of thralls in a certain mission or strike. But really, there's so many great exotics in Destiny 2 for the Titan. It's really hard to justify using these. The Syntheseps, if you really want a great melee for your Titan, go get the Syntheseps. They're so good. They make the Titan so much fun to play with a melee. They really... They make the Titan Punch feel like the Titan Punch should, like the powerful melee that it always should have been. But the ACD Zero feedback fence are totally skippable. Unless you're just trying to collect every exotic, I'd completely pass these by. Next up, the Sunbracers. Now, I don't have a whole lot of experience with Warlocks in Destiny 2 so far. I haven't even made one in Destiny 2 yet. But these seem good. Basically, the main perk here is Helium Spirals. Increase the duration of solar grenades and grants grenade energy on solar melee hits. So solar grenades aren't the end-all be-all of grenades, that's for sure. And Dawnblade, I don't think, is the most popular of subclasses for the Warlock right now. So the Sunbracers, not looking super hot, but solar grenades can be useful because in PvP, you can really use them to kind of block off doorways to protect a team or protect a point that you want the enemy team to stay away from. Maybe that's for power ammo, maybe that's for an objective. In PvE, you can use it for ad control. You can use it to keep ads from coming in through a doorway that you don't want them to come into. These are okay for boss damage, but not nearly as good as pulse grenades or void wall grenades. So the solar grenade's utility by itself isn't that hot. Giving them more duration improves the solar grenade, but still doesn't make them amazing. Getting more solar grenades because the solar melee hits charge your solar grenades, that's really nice. But I think there'll have to be some testing done to see how effective these things actually are. I don't have a Warlock to test them on. I'll be picking these up because I don't have them, and I do expect to have a Warlock very soon. But I wouldn't prioritize them right now over some of the other exotics here. So in order of priority, I'd definitely go with the Ward of Coil, then the Foe Tracer, then the Sunbracers, and then the ACD Zero feedback fences. I'll be picking up all three of the armor pieces. I already have a Ward of Coil, but I'm really excited to pick up the armor pieces for all of my characters. I'm really enjoying every character at this point, so just picking up all of these stuff is worthwhile. And goddamn, Xur is looking haggard. What is this hand thing he's doing, man? It is looking rough. He did not look this bad in Destiny 1. Like, are things getting hard for Xur? What's going on, man? I'm concerned for you. Like, I've got real concern. Can we sit down? Can we have a cup of coffee? Talk about what's going on? You know, maybe I can help. Maybe we can help. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.